a reference later. So that's all about Express, that it is one of the Node.js frameworks for building web applications and APIs. In lesson 2, we look at how to set up a simple Express app, and then from there we shall look on how to create a simple API. So let's take a look and see how we can create a simple Express app. Just like the way we've looked at React, we looked at how to initialize and create a simple React application, and then from there building on those concepts. So the same thing, we want to create a backend server, and we let us follow these steps. So for you to create a backend application using Express, you basically follow these simple steps. One is that you first of all have to initialize the project, then install some of the dependencies or libraries, I will call. Then after you've installed the libraries, you are now ready to add some code and run your application. All right, so let's go to our Visual Studio and follow the steps on how to create a simple Express app. So before even going to the Visual Studio, for every of the projects you want to create, you must make sure that all your code related to that project are stored in one particular folder. And that's why previously the front-end project that we have created, we created a folder called React App, and inside this folder is where we kept all our files. So the same thing, let us create another folder to work with our backend project. So I'm going to create a simple new folder here, and I can call it Express, or I can call it block app, because we are building a block app. So let me call it block app backend. So all the code for the backend, we are going to keep it in this folder. Now after we've created a folder, let us open this folder in Visual Studio. So I want to come to Visual Studio and open a new window, and then go ahead and open that folder. So I'm going to click on open folder, then navigate to desktop and open the folder that we've just created. Where is it here? This one right here. So after we have opened this folder in this Visual Studio, is going to ask us to trust the folder, the authors. Now we have this empty folder which is created here, which is opened here. How can we go then about creating React app? I mean Express app. So we're going to go to terminal and open a new terminal, and making sure that your cursor right now points at this directory on this folder called block app backend, and we type this command npm init -y. This command will help you to initialize or to set up a simple Express app. So going to type npm init hyphen, not hyphen but rather dash, then y, then press enter. You must be online. So you can see it takes few seconds to create the application, and when it creates the application, you can see right here by default it will create for you a file called package.json. If you open this file, you will see that this file has got some basic information which has been added there, the project name, which is the same as the directory name, the version 1.00. Then we have this main, which indicates that our main file, or our main file where the project will start running, when we start running it, it will be index.js. So we'll be creating that file. Then it has the script section. Then it has, of course, the keywords, the author, the license, and the description. All right. So after creating that project, we want to head over now and make sure we create this file called index.js, which is the next step. So we make sure we create the file called index.js within this folder. So you have these two icons here, on this folder icon and this file icon. So I want to go ahead and click new file, and I'm going to call that file index.js. So this file name must be the same as the file name indicated in this main. You will realize some servers, some frameworks will call it server.js or index.js. So if it is server.js, then you should also create a corresponding file name called index.js. This index.js is the main file where your project will start running. So when you run this Express server, it will start running from this file. After you've created that file, next step is to make sure you install these dependencies. So there are a minimum dependency that we need to install, at least to get our server up and running. So we need these three dependency or three libraries. We have Express library, the Mongoose library, the .env library. Then we also need to install NodeMon library. So we will explain what are the uses of all those libraries. So you type the command right here, npm install. So you install all these libraries, the three of them. So you can install one by one, or you can decide to install the three of them all at the same time. So I choose to install the three of them to save on time. So press enter. And take some time to download and install those dependencies. So as it is installing the dependencies, let's explain what are the uses of these dependencies, why are they important in our project. So the Express dependency, or the Express library, is the one that the web framework for Node.js is the one that will allow you to create a server API. The Mongoose library is the one that you will use to connect to your database, and the database we are using here is MongoDB. The .env library is the library that you will use to load a file called env file, and this is the file which stores all the environment variables. We shall see what is environment variables shortly. Then we have this library called NodeMon, which is a tool or library that helps you to auto restart the server when there is any file changes. For example, if I have already started this project and I come in any of these files within the project and I just make any changes, maybe adding a new code or maybe deleting some line of code, so what will happen is that this library will automatically detect that change and it will automatically restart the application without me having to start it again. So that is the importance of the NodeMon library, and because of that it helps you to increase your productivity and help you to develop faster. So let's check. I can see it has already installed all the three dependencies, and now when you come to your package.json, you should see that there is these dependencies which have been added here. So we have three dependencies: node.env, express, and mongoose. Let us also install these other ones here, npm install nodemon, so that it can be able to restart our application once we have made the changes without us having to restart it every other time. So we also install this npm install safe dev nodemon and press enter. That is giving an error. Maybe there is something up here. We remove the hyphen. Sorry about that. Yeah, so it installs. Takes again some few seconds, and now it is installed. Alright, so after installing all these dependencies, the next thing is to create basic folder structures. So when you are working with your project, you're going to create so many files to store different code, and therefore those files must be arranged in a very structured manner so that it makes your code to be easy to understand and to be easy to navigate around. And because of that, we are going to create different files and store them in different folders, and that one we're going to have a basic folder structure. So I'm going to create two subfolders within this root folder. So the first folder here is the root folder, which is block app backend, which should contain all the code and any subfolders. Then within this subfolder, you can see now we have these files and this folder called node modules. So I'm going to create another folder within that, new folder, and I'm going to call it model. Again, I'm going to create another one within that folder. Make sure that this folder is the one that is selected. Click on new folder again and create a second folder, call it router. So as we navigate, as we move on, we will see exactly which code should we store in router folder and which code should we store in the model. All right, so for now we have those folder structure, so that when you create your project and you expand it, you have these subfolders, the model folder and the router folder. Then you have the index file which we just created empty. Then we have the package.json, which should have been generated by default after you have set up your project. Alright, so let me again make sure just install this dependency again. Just confirming that we are still together. In case my network drops, please reach me out even offline to notify me. Yeah, so you can see now this dependency should now appear here. NodeMon dependency version 3 and self dev dependency version 0.0.1. So now we have all our 5 dependencies that we've installed. We have downloaded and installed. Now after creating this folder structure, we will come back to see this folder structure. The next one now is to make sure that we write some code in the index.js, because we said index.js is the main starting point of our application. So now when we start our application by running it, it first looks for index.js, and then it will start by executing any code that is within index.js. So the code within index.js is the one that should be able to make sure that it starts up the whole server, backend server. And to save on time, I've gotten this code together here. So you need to get this code snipped, and we head over to our VS within the index.js and make sure that you have this code in place. So what does this code do? Let me even remove this line 2 for now. So in the first line, in line 1, what we are doing is that we are importing. So this one is import. We are importing a library called Express. So we are importing Express library, and we say that this library, earlier we said this library helps you to set up Express app. Without it, you cannot be even able to build any Express app. After importing that library, and where are we importing it from? We are importing it from this Express library that we have just downloaded here, that we have installed here. All right. Then you can see when you open these node modules, all the dependencies that you have installed. For example, here in the package.json, if we have installed Express, here in the node modules folder, you should be able to see a folder that is called Express, and that folder is the one that is storing all the code for that library. So I don't know if you can see it here, Express. So you can see it is right here. We have the Express folder. Within this folder, you can see the lib, a short form for library, and within this library is where we have all the code. So you can see express.js, which is actually like a file. So this code here, it has been written already for you by someone. All you have to do, you just install Express, and by installing Express, you have access to all this code, and then you can just reuse it. All right. So that is what we mean by library. A library is a code which is written by someone, and therefore you just install it and make use of it. And that library makes up a framework. So a framework is a collection of so many libraries. All right. So you can see this Express framework. It has so many libraries within it. It has a library called Express, a library called .env, and all these other libraries that are being provided for you by default. So let me close this. Again, in the third line here, we are now setting up a simple Express app. So we set up an Express app using this code of line, constant app is equal to express parentheses. So this is a function which will set up a symbol express backend app which is ready to listen for requests from the clients. Then in the fifth line, what we are doing is that we are creating a constant variable called port, and we are assigning the value 8080. All right. Then in the next line, we are simply using now this app, and we say that this app should listen on port 8080, and then after it is up and running, it should just print console.log server is running. Server is running on port 8080. Then if there is any error starting the application, it should also log that error so that we see where the problem is. So that is a symbol code to set up a symbol express app and make it to listen on port 8080, and then it is once it is up, then it is now ready to listen for the request coming from the clients, and the client in this case is your React application, front-end React application. All right. So let us run this basic app, which does not even have one API, and see if it runs or it fails. If it runs successfully, then we can build on top of that and even add one simple API and see if we can get to reach and call that API from the front end. So how do we run an Express app? For the React app, we used to run it by typing the command npm start. But now for the Express app, we type the command npm run diff. All right. So let's press enter, and it gave us an error saying that it is missing the script diff. Missing the script diff, it means that somewhere in our package.json under the script section there is no script named diff which should be able to run this project. So what do? We simply go and add another script called diff. So if you take this particular error here and even put it on your Google here, so we need to have this diff script, write this one and make sure that we put it inside here. So you have this script now called diff node-mon, but now in place of server.js we should change it to reflect our main file index.js, because we said this is our main file. So it is like we are telling the development server, when we start this application, by running it, you go and look for the server for the file called index.js, which is the main file of this application, and run whatever code that is within that file. And therefore when it gets this file, it will start by running this code starting from line 1 up to the end. By the time we are at the end here, our application is listening on, it is now ready and it is running up and is ready to listen for the request from the client. So let us repeat the command npm run dev, press enter. Now it runs, but again it gives an error here, so there is a different error which is coming back. So when an error happens like this, you see it tells you that the application crashed, waiting for file changes before starting. So you need to go back, scroll and see where the error started happening. So you can see the error started happening at this point within the index.js file, and it is happening on line 10. I don't know if you can see this 10 here. So when you come with index.js, where is line 10? Line 10 is here, and it tells you the error is catch. There is an error with this syntax called catch. Let's see what the error is. Type error app.listen, catch is not a function. So let's remove this. Then save again. So you can see when you save without even running it, it runs automatically. It restarts due to changes. It tells you here NodeMon is restarting due to changes that we have made here, and now the application started successfully. And after starting it, it is saying that the server is running on port 8080, which means that our server is live and running. And it is able to restart because of this dependency that we have added inside here called the NodeMon dependency. Otherwise, if it was not because of this dependency, then it means every time you make some small changes in your files, you'll have to go back to your console again and again start npm run dev every other time, and that one is going to delay you and is going to be a bit boring. All right, so now that our application is running, you can actually reach it when you go to your browser and type localhost, because now it is running on our local host. Okay, and what port is it running on? It is running on port 80. So it tells you that there is a get error because for now we don't have any APIs configured yet. Alright, for now we don't have any even single API configured. We just have a basic MET backend server which is running and live, but we don't have any API that we can be able to reach out and see if we can get the request, I mean the response. You remember the concept of client server model, where the client sends a request and then the server will send the response. So now here we are in our client. The client we are using here is the browser. We are trying to reach this server that is running on port 8080, but now there is no any API within that server. So the server will just tell you it cannot get any data. All right, so far so good. We have created a simple backend server. Unless you have a question to ask anywhere where it is not clear, you can ask before we proceed to the next concept on how we can add a simple API. Any question? Thomas, Winfred, Chari, Samuel, we are good.